happy 2022. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Tom, Page Turning Tuesdays. We left off, I had just won the San Francisco City Hula Hoop contest. I'm the San Francisco City Hula Hoop champion, so let's pick it up right there. I'm feeling really good about myself until John tells me, hula hooping really isn't a sport. You might as well be twirling a baton. It's for girls. He isn't exactly proud of me. Out of shame, I decided to lose the contest and to a black girl with an unusually long neck who probably would have beaten me anyway. She must have had at least 12 hoops going around her neck simultaneously. As I'm leaving the stage, feeling awful for not trying, a strange man comes up and offers his hand. We shake. He has a picture of me that was in the paper. Is this you? Yes. Do you want to be in a commercial? Yes. He tells me he's with an advertising agency and is casting talent for a Clorox ad of some sort. He hands me his business card and says I should have my mother call him. I clutch his card in my sweaty little hand while my head swells dangerously out of control, thinking I just got my break into show business. I was hoping to be on a TV commercial, but found out it was for a magazine ad instead. The process is surprisingly boring, except for the man charged with styling the stains. He has a massive toolkit, a tackle box he unfolds, revealing dozens of tiny bottles, trays, paints, brushes, clays, eyedroppers, and pastes. There are at least a dozen other kids in the ad, and were arranged and rearranged so much that several of them start to complain. Some of the kids get stuck standing behind a fat lady dressed like a crossing guard. Then the stain master goes to work. This part was fascinating. Using various brushes, sponges, and fingers, he hovers from kid to kid, applying oversized stains for the camera to see clearly. I am the last to be soiled. He uses a putty knife to apply a golden plop of what looks like yellow mustard onto the chest of my shirt. That's a great looking stain, he says proudly, admiring his work. It sure is, I say, nodding in agreement. They take 100 pictures, making slight adjustments, and then they take 100 more. What a relief it was to be done. It certainly wasn't as a glamorous experience, but a couple of weeks later I get a check in the mail for $113.56. My mom cashes it for me and lets me hold the money in my grubby little hands before putting it into the bank. I march straight to my room and promptly throw it up in the air while I'm jumping on the bed shouting, I'm rich! I'm rich! I'm filthy stinking rich! My sisters hate me. Who cares? I don't have time for that. I'm too busy deciding whether I should buy a yacht or a private jet. I like to think the reason I look familiar to so many people is because they vaguely recognize me from an old Clorox ad they saw years ago in a magazine. I am the mustard stain boy. So clearly I'm the star of this ad, as you can see, based on my position in the center. Anywho, all this excitement comes at a price. I have to accept the fact that my life has peaked at the ripe old age of 6. There's no way I can ever top what happened that year. Even I know it'll be downhill from here. It was around this time when our mother told us that our father was coming to visit for the 3-day weekend. I wasn't exactly thrilled. I don't remember living with my dad. Why do we have to spend so much time with him, I ask. Molly looks as worried as I do. You'll have fun, you'll see. Do you remember him? I ask, looking at Shelley and Chris. I do, Shelley says. A little, adds Chris. Molly and I shrug our shoulders. He might tell you a story about he tried to visit you last year and how I wouldn't let him. But it's not true, right? I ask. Oh, it's perfectly true. You need to know my side of the story, though. He kept harassing me during and after the divorce, trying to legally force me to have dinner with him at a restaurant of his choice. Apparently, he thought one good meal would change my mind. What a crazy man. I don't love your father anymore. I love John, so I refuse to see him. He didn't see me or any of you on that trip. Well, what if he tries to steal us? Try to get back at you, I ask. Oh, he won't do that. He's not that crazy. Molly and I look at each other and shrug again, not really sure how we feel about spending time with our delusional, semi-crazy daddy. On the big day, we peer out the bay windows, hoping to get a pre-glimpse of him. That's him, says Shelley. When he rings the bell, I run down the hall so I can spy on him. He's talking to Shelley, Chris, and Mom about things I can't hear. First Shelley, and then Chris climbs onto his lap, each straddling one leg like a saddle. It looks fun. They start laughing louder and louder. Molly joins in, sitting behind Chris. My sisters certainly trust him, but I still have my doubts and tiptoe to my room and crawl under the bed. Mom finds me a minute later, grabs my foot, and slides me into view. What's wrong, sweetie? Nothing. I just don't want to go. Let me stay here. Honey, that's your father. He flew 3,000 miles to see you. Don't you think he deserves a little bit of your time? Can't I just talk to him on the phone? She laughs. You're being silly. Come with me. She takes hold of my arm, but I pull that universal trick all kids instinctively know and turn my body into a mushy squid. She clutches my tentacle-like boneless ankles and drags me slowly into the living room. I'm crying, embarrassed, and scared. Here's your son. Say hello to your father, Tommy. We'll leave it off there for today. Thanks for tuning in. See you next Tuesday for another edition of this wild and crazy page-turning Tuesdays with Tom. Thanks. Bye.